What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Dokkan Battle video. My name is D-Free, and in this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about an Android category and what that team could potentially look like if and or when it does possibly happen in this game. Hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe if you're new, of course, for more content. We do this type of thing all of the time, but I want to go ahead and say, you know what? I was supposed to do this a few days ago, so my apologies. You know, I just kind of got bogged down by a few other things, and my videos were like, oh yeah, well, I have a bunch of them. I need to put them out in a short amount of time, so this one kind of got pushed on the back burner. So for anybody that was waiting for this after I did like the future category and a couple of others, here we are now, and I apologize for the wait. Anyways, so forgive me first and foremost if I missed any Android. I went out of my way to try to scrounge up every single Android, you know, that could potentially be a thing here, right? But every now and again, there's one that won't have a link or won't be so easily noticed. A more recent example is when I did my Future Gohan one the other day. I was like, oh yeah, what unit should awaken? And I totally forgot, and he was one of the inspirations for the video, totally forgot the physical Future Gohan that is base form in the History of Trunks event that currently does not awaken. He totally should awaken. I would like that very much so, but I forgot him, so forgive me if I do forget anybody. But an Android category, the main inspiration for this is a couple of things. First and foremost, we all want a new cell, a lot of us. We all want an Android 21, a lot of us. And lastly, I feel like Android 21, or excuse me, Android Super 17 deserves to be in the category. He's the only 120% leader from that entire meta. Janemba, Cooler, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Angel, you know, all those characters, physical Gotenks. He's the only one that doesn't have a category leader right now. So if that isn't some sort of indication as to why, what'll happen with him, next or soon, then I don't know what is. I don't know. Maybe they just find a way to put him inside of the future category somehow. I don't know, man. Don't tell me. Dokkan's weird. Anyways, don't ask me. Anyways, so personally, I would like for it to be Android 21. And here's why. Because if it's a new cell, if it's anything else other than a new character entirely, you're going to be in a position where you can't use older variations of it. And we've seen that time and time again. And not because the old variations are bad, because if it comes to Cell, he has his own little tab over here. We have STR Cell, who's actually really, really good. And we're also going to be Extreme Z Awakening this guy towards the end of this week, I believe. So it's like there are very, very good options that could be used on your team. And again, Extreme Z Awaken him, potentially at 100%, then you have something to work for. But if you have a new cell, then he kind of takes over. And I want a new cell. I want a new meta-relevant cell that just pops out with a crazy passive. But I can't ignore the fact that these guys get shafted, assuming that you have, right? Assuming that you have the new cell. If you don't have the new cell or don't get the new cell or whatever, well, I guess you wouldn't really run this team. Maybe you'd run like the baby version of Leader Skill. Maybe there's like a 40% version of it. Typically there is something like that. But I digress. I hope that my point got across, right? So that's where I stand on a new cell. And I think that 21 would be the best candidate for that. I don't think they'd give, first and foremost, I don't think they'd give a character like Jiro, even though he's the creator of the androids, typically. And I say typically because he didn't create this guy, but either way, they're not going to give a character like that top billing on a banner. Nobody's going to pull for that. Come on. They're not going to do that. You know that. So I didn't even consider stuff like that. While it would be cool, while it would be nice as a meta reference, it would be cool, right? But it's just not going to happen. They're not going to give it a 16, even though 16 did play a very big part in that arc. They're not giving it to anybody like 18 or 17. I don't think it's going to happen because we already have enough of those in the game already. And again, they're not top billing characters. It would have to be somebody like Cell, who is awesome but still can't compete sales-wise to a Saiyan type character anyway. Or maybe a new Mira. Maybe they give us Super Mira, and not the one from, I don't really want the one from Xenoverse, but the one that kind of looks like a Super Saiyan, right? I'll show you guys really quick. Super Mira. This is going to pull up the one from Xenoverse, isn't it? Oh, it didn't actually. This one right here, but his hair spikes up a bit. It's not doing it now, but the one from Dragon Ball Heroes. There we go. This Mira. I would like this very much so. I would like that a lot. That would be incredible. But yeah, so anyways, getting into it. So we have, first and foremost, I'm going to automatically put on the team these two characters. And honestly, Super 17's in a weird spot, but let me explain. The androids, assuming you got them at 100%, which by now I would assume if you if you don't, it's probably because you didn't want to 100% them by now, right? And I'm going to assume that just because there was even like campaign, and during the campaign, I believe they dropped for missions or logins or whatever, so it shouldn't have been too hard to get them at that point. Otherwise, you're probably a new player or whatever, didn't have good luck on the friend summons, etc., etc. But at 100%, they'll be really, really, really powerful. I mean, they need a new passive, 15,000 when performing a super is it's really, really middling. Their attack stat isn't crazy high for an android. 13k isn't like great, but it gets the job done, right? They're good. So I don't want to discredit them. They're still definitely going to be one of the better units in this category just because of the sheer stats that they have. Because while I said their stats are kind of it's still great, especially under a great leader skill and at 100%. So let's not discount them. They're going to be very, very helpful for a lot of people, and they're going to slide right on this team. Now, of course, like in the future, if we get more options, maybe they get bumped off. Now, this guy's in a weird spot because he's really good. I will never take anything away from Super 17. The only issue he has is that he's kind of slow, like LR Goku Black and Zamasu. They hit harder at the gate just because LR stats and stuff, but nonetheless, he's slow, so I don't want to take anything away from him, but we could be in a position where, assuming that we don't get a cell, and this is where things got pretty interesting for me when I was thinking about this video, we're assuming we don't get a cell. Maybe Super 17 does still make the team, right? But assuming we can use perfect cell on the team, and he's Extreme Z Awakened. Right now, he gets 12% for every orb obtained, right? If that bumps up enough, he could potentially be crazy good. And again, 100% at Extreme Z Awakened. You get my point. So maybe you don't run this 17, right? Maybe you run the Tech 17, this Tech Super 17, or the physical one. And you try to, and this guy right here, and you try to brute force more orbs out there to really capitalize on Cell. And the really cool thing about the Android category is that there's very, very, very good potential for a lot of key change type units. I mean, we have a bunch of them. We have this 17 right here. We have 18 right here, this other 18 down here, changing physical orbs. They're both changing physical orbs to a color. We have Super 17, the one I was talking about right here. So maybe you wind up doing that with this physical 17 or this Super 17 and just some combination of those characters, this Android 18 right here, and so on and so forth, whatever is available to you. So maybe that becomes one of the better things for you to do. And in that scenario, again, maybe you just flat out don't run a Super 17, or you just run one of the orb changing ones, or maybe you just don't care and you want the consistency. I personally, to be honest, would still run Super 17 instead. But that's just me. Super 18. No, we don't got Super 18 in here. We're not going that meta. Okay, he's gone. Okay. Maybe not. Android. There we go. So yeah, let's go ahead and add him back though. But assuming that Tech Cells, which I 100% expect it to be, assuming Tech Cells Extreme Z Awaken is better than STR Cell is at this point, which again, I 100% expect it to be, he would make the team, and assuming that you don't get a new cell leader. If you do get a cell leader, then of course your cell leader would be the leader, and there's no room for Tech Cell, and there's no room for STR Cell, and that changes things entirely. So aside from that, you don't have a lot of options left. This guy, when he awakens, will be ridiculous. He'll be a great option for this team, but he'll be in the category he should be anyway, because Mira is an android. Infernal android, literally says it right there. So he should be in the category nonetheless. But again, if he doesn't awaken, he's not really worth your time. When it comes to cells, there's not a lot of options for cell either. I mean, if you're running Tech Cell, again, assuming that that's not the leader, I'm going to operate under the assumption that Android 21 is the leader, to be honest, just because I know she's Fighters exclusive, but who knows, right? Maybe we get a Dragon Ball Fighters type banner. Who knows? But if you ask me, honestly, I don't want the Cell just because of the reasons I mentioned, but I think he's the most likely. If they're going to do an Android, I think it's going to be Cell. But again, maybe the Cell's a tech type leader then in that scenario. This guy can become a good off-rotation choice for the Tech Cell type leader, if that's the new Cell leader, or this older Tech Cell. Again, that could be a possibility as well. Aside from that, the way I would personally fill out the team is I would include the new 17 and 18 just because they're really good. Let's go ahead and bounce back over here. So we're going to go ahead and pull up. Oh, great. I'm on Global's database, and they don't have 17 or 18, the new ones. Awaken. Okay. 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 So Android is not a thing, but I can tell you we'll do this. Okay, and we will sort them by attack, which they already are. Now we'll do date, actually. So, boom. I'm going to put both of these on the team, just to begin. And then we are going to go ahead and bounce over to Extreme AGL. Pull out our LR, our handy-dandy LR. And our Super 17. So all of a sudden, we have 4 units on the team, right? And then we have the leader, whatever that is. So this is kind of what you would expect from an Android team. It's kind of hard to fill it out from here because I don't know exactly what the leader will be. You know, that's just the reality. And of course, a lot of this will change. It's just my goal for this video was to give you guys a general idea. If the leader becomes an orb change type unit or a unit that needs orbs like the Tech Cell originally is in the game, maybe Android 13, right? Int, one of the best orb changes in the game, hands down. You know, maybe he gets relevance. You know, that's how things would shake out. Otherwise, if you don't want to rely on the necessity of having these two basically linked together, this Android 18 is a really, really good option. But you see the problem with the 18s and 17s. Depending on how good the awakenings are for this guy, which I don't really expect much for him, or Android 18 AGL type, you're going to be running a lot of units that simply don't have common links like Fierce Battle. You know, it's mainly rebirth units and stuff like that. You know, if you want more, you could run him. If the leader becomes an int type, then he instantly becomes incredible on that team too. That's how things are going to shake out. So that's it for me. I just wanted to give you guys that opportunity to kind of check out what an Android team could potentially look like. Again, maybe I'm missing a unit or two. I just kind of went generally to the Android Assault link, which typically has all of them except for the other 2 that I pulled up on pages. There's not a lot of cell options here, so they might wind up doing a cell leader. Perfect Cell Angel, global exclusive, 15% for orb. That's great, to be honest, but nah. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think he's good enough. Ultimate Life Form, Shocking Speed, and Nightmare are pretty prevalent, I guess. He's a nice, like, filler option if you want him. So, anyways, have an awesome day. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next Dokkan Battle video.